Hare Krishna. So now we are starting Sri Bhagavatamrta by Srila Sanatana Gosvami study session. And this is translated into English by His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj. Text 4 of chapter 1, Bhauma on the earth. Jayati Mathura Devi Shreshta Purishu Manorama Parama Daita Kamsa Rate Jani Sthiti Ranjita Durita Haranan Mukter Bhakter Api Pratipadanaj Jagati Mahita Tat Tat Krida Kathastu Viduratha. All glories to Goddess Mathura, the best of holy cities, enchanting to the mind, most dear to the enemy of Kamsa, and adorned with the Lord's birthplace. Let it remain great in this world, since it destroys misery, produces liberation and bhakti, what to speak of its various pastimes. The attainment of such bhakti, which fulfills all desires, should take place in sacred Mathura, since it is the supreme object of Krishna's prema, and Krishna performs his pastimes continually in that place. With that intention, the author praises Mathura to gain its mercy. Devi means the supreme goddess, Shakti of the Lord, or she who continually shines, since by a constant association with the Lord, she is free of time, fear, etc. She's free of time, fear, etc. Mathura is the best among the 7 cities like Kashi, or among the abodes of the Devatas in upper, middle, and lower realms. And even among abodes of the Lord, since it's most beautiful, being ornamented with astonishing glories, or the city gives delight to the minds, Manorama, of all people by fulfilling all their desires. It is said in Padma Purana, Trivargada Kaminam Ya, Mumukshunam cha mokshada, Bhakti chor Bhaktida kastam, Mathuram nashrayet Buddha. What intelligent person would not take shelter of Mathura, which gives artha, dharma, and kama to those desiring those benedictions, which gives liberation to those desiring liberation, and which gives bhakti to the person desiring bhakti? What intelligent person would not take shelter of Mathura, which gives artha, dharma, and kama to those desiring those benedictions, which gives liberation to those desiring liberation, and which gives bhakti to the person desiring bhakti? Thus, it's very dear, Parama Daita to Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, Kamsarate. This name indicates Krishna's great compassion, since by destroying Kamsa, he freed the people of Mathura from great suffering. Thus, it's very dear to Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa. This name indicates Krishna's great compassion, since by destroying Kamsa, he freed the people of Mathura from great suffering. Mathura is also the eternal place of Krishna's birth. Raja Dhani Tata Sabhut, Sarva Yadava Bhujam, Mathura Bhagavan Yatra, Nityam Sannihito Harihi. Since that time, the city of Mathura had been the capital of all the kings of the Yadu dynasty. The city and district of Mathura are very intimately connected with Krishna, for Krishna lives there eternally. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.28. Mathura is made beautiful by being his birthplace. The place is worshipped by all in this world because it destroys sins and bestows liberation and bhakti. What to speak of the famous or indescribable pastimes that Krishna performed there? Who can describe Mathura's greatness caused by those pastimes? The ability to destroy sin is described in the Puranas. Anyatra yat kritam papam, tirtam asadya nashyati, tirte tu yat kritam papam, vajra lepo bhavishyati, Mathurayam kritam papam, Mathurayam vinashyati, yesha puri mahapunya, yatra papam na tishtati. Sins committed outside a tirtha are destroyed at that tirtha, but sins committed at the tirtha produce a sin hard to remove. Sins committed at Mathura are removed at Mathura. This city is a powerful purifier in which no sin can remain. Varaha Purana. Gyanato vapi yat papam samuparjitam sukritam dushkritam vapi mathurayam pranashyati. A sin committed knowingly or unknowingly, a sin or even a pious result is destroyed at Mathura. Varaha Purana. Kashi yadi puryo yadi nama santi tasam tu madhye mathuraiva dhanya ya janma maunji vrata mrityu dahernunam chaturdha vidadhati moksham. Though there are many famous cities, Mathura is the best. Mathura bestows liberation to men by 4 means: being born there, accepting the sacred thread there, dying there, and being burned there. Anyeshu punyakshetreshu muktir eva mahafalam muktai pratyya harer bhaktir mathurayam hi labhyate. The greatest result in other holy places is liberation. But in Mathura, one can attain bhakti to the Lord, which is sought even by liberated souls. Text 5. Jayati Jayati Vrindaranyam Yetan Murari Priyatamam Ati Sadhu Swanta Vaikunta Vasat Ramayati Sada Ga Palayan Yatra Gopi Swarita Madhura Venur Vardhayan Prema Rase. All glories to this Vrindavana forest, most dear to Lord Murari. It is dearer to him than residing in Vaikunta or in the hearts of great devotees. There, while tending his cows, he gives pleasure to the gopis and increases their prema in the rasa dance by sweetly playing his flute. Within Mathura is Vrajabhumi, the place of astonishing sweet pastimes of the Lord. Vrindavanam, Govardhanam, Yamuna, Pulinani cha, Vikshya Sid Uttama Priti Rama Madhavayor Nripa. O King Parikshit, when Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavana, Govardhana, and the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.11.36. The 3 places mentioned are the dearest, describing their excellence to obtain their mercy. The author first speaks of Vrindavana in this verse. Jayati is repeated out of great joy on understanding the greatness of the place. The word etat indicates that the author lives in that place at the time of writing the verse. This Vrindavana is most dear to Krishna. He prefers staying in Vrindavana to residing in the hearts of great devotees or in Vaikunta, though these are also dwelling places of the Lord, or it is dearer than these attractive places. This is because it spreads sweet waves of sweet spontaneous pastimes at all times. This is not possible in other places. Even if he appears in those places, he does so in a covered manner by Aishwarya. Nityam Sannihito Harihi. Krishna is present eternally in Mathura. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.28. In Vaikunta, Krishna is covered to the extent that his form is different. He is covered in Mathura and Dwaraka by Aishwarya, though he has a similar form. He has a form similar to that of Vrindavana. But he's not covered in Vrindavana. Punya bata vraja bhuvo yad ayam linga gudha purana purusho vanachitra malya gah palayan sahabala kvanayam shavenum vikridayanchati giritra rama chitangrihi. How pious are the tracts of land in Braja, for the oldest person disguising himself with human traits wanders about enacting his many pastimes. Adorned with wonderfully variegated forest garlands, he whose feet are worshipped by Shiva and Lakshmi vibrates his flute as he tends the cows in the company of Balarama. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.44.13. Anchati is in the present tense in the Bhagavatam verse to indicate that he eternally wants us there. The present verse also indicates this. There, while tending the cows, he eternally gives pleasure to the gopis headed by Radha. By giving them great pleasure in the rasa dance, or he increases his own prema through the rasa dance. He plays the flute, or using the flute produces colorful notes which attract the minds of everyone in the universe. Swarita Madhura Venu. Though Vardhayan indicates a cause, increasing prema, he gives enjoyment to the gopis. But the sentence should actually mean playing the flute and giving enjoyment to the gopis. He causes prema. Though Vardhayan indicates a cause, Vardhayan, though Avardhayan indicates a cause, increasing prema is actually the main goal. This is accomplished through his flute for herding the cows and through his giving the gopis pleasure as their lover. Increasing their prema was his main purpose, since he appeared on earth to distribute a special rasa of prema. Herding cows and sporting with the gopis were instruments for that. Text 6. Jayati Tarani Putri Dharma Raja Swasaya Kalayati Mathuraya Sakyam Atyeti Gangam Murahara Daita Tatpada Padma Prasutam Vahaticha Makarandam Nirapura Chalena. All glories to Yamuna, the daughter of the sun god and sister of Yamaraja. And sister of Yamaraja, beloved of Krishna, the killer of Mura, who has made friends with Mathura district and has exceeded the greatness of Ganga Devi. On the pretext of being a river, she carries the nectar flowing from Lord Sri Krishna's lotus feet. He describes Yamuna, which ornaments Vrindavana. Yamuna is the daughter of the sun god and thus illuminates the universe. She is the sister of Yamaraja and thus protects Dharma. She is the greatest Tirtha and bestows all things. She makes friends with Mathura, Sakyam Kalayati, since she flows abundantly in the Mathura area with attractive movements. She surpasses Ganga since she has greater glories and power. Ganga Shata Guna Prokta, Mathure Mama Mandale, Yamuna Vishruta Devi, Natra Karya Vicharana, Tasya Shata Guna Prokta, Yatra Keshi Nipatita, Keshyas Shata Guna Prokta, Yatra Vishramito Harihi. O Devi, Yamuna in my Mathura district is known to have 100 times more qualities than Ganga. One need not think further about this. The place on the Yamuna where Keshi was killed has 100 times more qualities, and the place where Krishna rested after killing Keshi has 100 times more qualities than that. Varaha Purana. Why is it so great? Yamuna is dear to Krishna, Murahara Daita. She is the shelter of various pastimes in Gokula, Mathura, and even Dwaraka. Perhaps this refers to Kalindi, Krishna's queen in Dwaraka, who is another form of Yamuna. See Brhad Bhagavatamrta 1.7.113. Moreover, On the pretext of being a river, she carries a special sweet rasa of bhakti arising from Krishna's lotus feet. Because of this, by taking shelter of Yamuna, one can immediately destroy unlimited suffering and attain the highest bliss. Thus, it is great. Because of this, by taking shelter of Yamuna, one can immediately destroy unlimited suffering and attain the highest bliss. Thus, it is great. Text 7, Govardhano Jayati Shaila Kuladhirajo Yo Gopika Bhirudito Haridasa Varya Krishnena Shakra Makha Bhanga Kruta Chito Yaha Saptaham Asya Karapadmatale Api Avatsit. All glories to Govardhana, the king of mountains, whom the Lord's dear gopis call the best servant of Hari, who was worshipped by Lord Krishna after disrupting the sacrifice for worship of Indra, and who rested for a week in the Lord's lotus palm. Govardhana is then glorified. Govardhana is the king of mountains. This means that it is greater than Himalaya, Sumeru, and other famous mountains. It is further described. It is called the best among Krishna's servants by the gopis, since by his various services he causes great pleasure to Krishna. The gopis say, Hantayam Adrir Abala Haridasa Varyo Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparsha Pramodha Manam Tanoti Sahako Go Ganayos Tayoryat Paniya Suya Vasa Kandara Kandamulai. Of all the servants, this Govardhana hill is the best. Oh, my friends, this hill, blissful with the touch of the feet of Krishna and Balarama, along with their calves, cows, and coward friends, gives respect with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, honey, very soft grass, caves, bulbs, and roots. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.21.18. Govardhana was worshipped by Krishna, thus disrupting the sacrifice meant for Indra. Govardhana was worshipped by Nanda and others with the materials after the annual worship of Indra was given up. Then Govardhana was respected by Krishna when he circumambulated the hill. One should see the 10th canto for the details. This incident shows that Govardhana was greater than Indra. Astonishing greatness is then shown. Govardhana remained for 7 days in Krishna's hand. The word api indicates that this is a further glory added to the previous statements, or api means what more can be said. Govardhana even remained in his lotus hand for 7 days. Text 8. Jayati Jayati Krishna Prema Bhaktir Yad Angrim Nikhila Nigama Tattvam Gudham Agnaya Mukti Bhajati Sharana Kama Vaishnavais Tyajyamana Japa Yajana Tapasya Nyasa Nishtam Vihaya. All glories to Krishna Prema Bhakti, whose feet comprise all the confidential truths of the Vedas, knowing which liberation herself has come to worship her, worship her. Liberation, abandoned by the Vaishnavas, has now given up her dependence on japa, yajna, tapasya, and renunciation, and is eager to take shelter of prema bhakti. Now the author describes the excellence of Krishna Bhakti, a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In order to gain a mercy, Bhakti endowed with prema for Krishna remains ever excellent. Liberation takes shelter of one portion of one of Bhakti's lotus feet. Just taking shelter of Bhakti's actions, like hearing or chanting once, to a small degree produces liberation. No other process does this. What does liberation do? Conclusively discerning the essence of all the Vedic scriptures, while emphatically giving up the position most highly regarded by the followers of the four ashramas, along with japa, yajna, tapasya, vanaprastha, and renunciation. along with japa brahmachari, yajna grahastha, tapasya vanaprastha, and renunciation sannyasi, liberation takes shelter of bhakti's lotus feet. Liberation takes shelter of bhakti's lotus feet. This means that liberation cannot be attained even if one is fixed in the 4 ashramas. And if one performs bhakti to Krishna, one attains liberation. But the devotees have no regard for liberation. Vaishnava, Tyajamana. Vaishnava here refers to a person who has taken Diksha with Vishnu mantra. Though liberation approaches them as a servant offering liberation, they ignore our offer. Tyajamana is in the present tense. This indicates that they reject liberation in the past, present, and future. For what purpose does liberation take shelter of bhakti? Liberation desires shelter, sharanakama. Liberation simply desires to take shelter of bhakti, regarding bhakti as the sole refuge. By not surrendering to bhakti, liberation is destroyed. The meaning is this: for those who take shelter of Krishna, liberation acts as their servant. For persons who desire liberation without worshipping Krishna, liberation does not even glance at them and remains far away. Though others desire liberation, they do not attain it. Liberation cannot be attained though they undertake japa, yajna, tapasya, etc. Such persons do not understand the conclusion of the scriptures. Text 9. Jayati Jayati Nama Nanda Rupam Murarer Viramita Nija Dharma Dhyana Pujadi Yatnam Katham Api Sakrid Attam Muktidam Praninam Yat Paramam Amritam Yekam Jivanam Bhushanam Me. The name of Krishna, whose very form is bliss, which destroys the suffering caused by performance of dharma, meditation, and worship, and other processes, which gives liberation by being chanted once, which gives happiness superior to liberation, which is my life and ornament, remains ever excellent. Which gives happiness superior to Brahma, liberation, which is my life and ornament, remains ever excellent. In order to attain the mercy of the most excellent chanting of Krishna's name, the author describes the name's excellence. The name of Krishna, which manifests bliss, Ananda Rupa, or whose very form is bliss, remains ever excellent. Repetition of Jayati indicates great respect on understanding the special excellence of the Lord's name. The special nature of the name's excellence is shown. It negates the suffering caused by performance of dharma for persons performing duties in Varnashrama. For persons who take shelter of bhakti and have no interest in Varnashrama, it negates the suffering in meditation arising from difficulty in controlling the mind. It negates the suffering for persons performing deity worship, since they have difficulty in collecting pure items. It negates the suffering in the hearing process caused by dependence on finding a good speaker. This is indicated by the word Adi. This is because chanting the name alone yields all results. This is because chanting the name alone yields all results. Aho batasshva pachoto gariyan yad jigvagre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juhu sasnur arya brahmanochur nama grinanti ete. How astonishing! The outcast on the tip of whose tongue your name appears becomes the guru. All those who chant your name, becoming most respectable, have completed all austerities, all sacrifices, all bathing, and all study of the Vedas. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.7. Dhyayan krite yajan yagnais, Tretayam dvapare archayan, yad apnoti tad apnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. The results attained by meditation in Satya Yuga, by sacrifices in Treta Yuga and by deity worship in Dwapar Yuga, or attained by chanting the name of Krishna in Kali Yuga, Vishnu Purana. One may attain Artha, Dharma and Kama, but liberation is achieved only by qualified persons. That would also apply to persons who chant the name with faith and bhakti. The name gives liberation to all living beings, whoever they may be. This takes place even if the name is chanted in Nama Bhasa with pride and greed, when chanted by persons wandering about exhausted from hunger, or when chanted as a joke. Yetavatalam aghan nirhar Haranaya Pumsam, Sankirtanam Bhagavato Gunakarma Namnam, Vikrushya Putram Aghavan Yad Ajamilopi, Narayaneti Mriyamana Iyaya Muktim. The attentive chanting of the names, pastimes, and qualities of the Lord destroys the sins of man. But even attentive chanting is not necessary. Sinful Ajamila, crying out for his son, uttered Narayana while dying and still attained liberation. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.3.24. Madhura Madhuram Yetan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigama Valli Satphalam Chit Swarupam Sakrad Api Parigitam Shraddhaya Helayava Brigu Vara Nara Matram Taraye Krishna Nama. The name of Krishna is sweeter than the sweetest, the most auspicious of all things auspicious. The name of Krishna is sweeter than the sweetest, the most auspicious of all things auspicious. It is the highest fruit in the tree of all the Vedas and is composed entirely of pure consciousness. O best of Bhrugu's dynasty, heard once with faith or in negligence, it can deliver any human being. Skanda Purana Prabhasa Kanda. Atam can also mean even if the name is accepted in by any sense. Even if chanted once, it gives liberation. Even if chanted once, it gives liberation. One can contemplate the syllables of the name in the Antakarana or use the external senses. Using the voice and ear is easily understood. With the eye, one can see the written letters of the name. With using the skin, one can engage the sense of touch by imprinting the syllables of the name on the chest or other limbs, or by writing the syllables of the name on paper. Using the hand, one can hold stamps engraved with the syllables of the name. For me, giving up all interest, the name has one great result. It gives the happiness of Vaikuntha, which far surpasses the happiness of liberation, Paramam Amritam. Or it gives the greatest sweetness. The word Paramam can be repeated with Jivanam and Bhushanam. It is the highest life and the highest ornament. For me, it is the only thing. It supplies all wonderful things. Text 10. Text 10. Namaha Shri Krishna Chandraya Nirupadhi Kripa Krute Yah Shri Chaitanya Rupo Bhut Tanvan Prema Rasam Kalau. I bow down to Krishna Chandra, the bestower of unconditional mercy, who has appeared in Kali Yuga, Shri Chaitanya, to distribute the taste of prema. After invoking auspiciousness, the author, in order to achieve his desired goal, offers respects to the greatest guru in the form of his worshipable deity according to the custom of the Sampradaya. I offer respects to Krishna, who gives costless mercy, Nirupadhi Kripakrite, for spreading in Kali Yuga, Tanvan, the special sweetness of most rare prema to Krishna's lotus feet, He appeared of most rare prema to Krishna's lotus feet. He appeared as Chaitanya. He appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or after invoking auspiciousness, the author, in order to achieve his desired goal, offers respects to the greatest guru in the form of his worshipable deity according to the custom of the Sampradaya. I offer respects to Krishna, who gives costless mercy, Nirupadi Kripakrite, for spreading in Kali Yuga the special sweetness of most rare prema to Krishna's lotus feet. He appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or he appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute raga, rasa, and prema. Text 11, Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam Ayam Sarasya Sangraha Anubhutasya Chaitanya Deve Tat Priya Rupata. This book is a conclusion of the scriptures which teach bhakti to the Lord, a conclusion which was realized under the shelter of Lord Chaitanya. A conclusion which was realized under the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from his dear devotee Sri Rupa. From his dear devotee Sri Rupa. Now the author speaks about this book. This work is a compilation of the conclusion or the portion devoid of inferior elements of scriptures related to bhakti directed to the Lord. Of scriptures related to bhakti directed to the Lord. By this statement, it is understood the author does not show boldness of creating his own work and shows its authoritative nature. It is a compilation since it sometimes brings together various verses, sometimes various phrases, and sometimes various meanings of scriptures in a poetic form. How is it possible to make a compilation since it's difficult to bring together in one place many bhakti scriptures, and it is difficult to discern their meaning? The conclusion or essence was directly realized by internal and external senses. Can be realized by internal and external senses in Vasudeva. The conclusion or essence was directly realized by internal and external senses, Anubhutasya and Vasudeva, the presiding deity of consciousness. The conclusion or essence was directly realized by internal and external senses in Vasudeva, the presiding deity of consciousness, Chaitanya Devasya, though the dearest friend of Krishna's the threefold bending form playing his flute. The conclusion essence was directly realized by internal and external senses. Anubhutasya in Vasudeva, the presiding deity of consciousness, Chaitanya Devasya, through the dearest form, Krishna, the threefold bending form playing his flute. This means that by meditation and service to Krishna, the conclusions were realized. And service to Krishna, the conclusions were realized. When Krishna, dwelling within and possessing natural causeless mercy, manifests himself by his mercy through meditation and in other devotional process, everything becomes revealed. Or the conclusions were realized in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through that golden form in the dress of a sannyasi, or through his dear friend Rupa Goswami, or through his dear Rupa Goswami. Since the conclusions were realized by the mercy of the Lord, it was not difficult to compile them. Since the conclusions were realized by the mercy of the Lord, it was not difficult to compile them. Text 12. Shrinvantu Vaishnava Shastram Idam Bhagavatamrtam Sugopyam Prahayat Premna. Since the conclusions were realized by the mercy of the Lord, it was not difficult to compile them. Text 12. Shrinvantu Vaishnava Shastram Idam Bhagavatamrtam Sugopyam Prahayat Premna Jaimenir Janame Jayam. May the Vaishnavas kindly hear this confidential work, Sri Bhagavatamrta, which teaches the highest spiritual path and which Jaimani Rishi carefully spoke to King Janame Jaya and Prema. May the Vaishnavas kindly hear this confidential work, Sri Bhagavatamrta, which teaches the highest spiritual path and which Jaimani Rishi carefully spoke to King Janame Jaya and Prema. And which Jaimani Rishi carefully spoke to King Janame Jaya and Prema. Which teaches the highest spiritual path and which Jaimani Rishi carefully spoke to King Janame Jaya and Prema. The Vaishnavas should hear the scripture, Shastram, which has been compiled. It teaches, Shastram comes from Shas, to instruct. It teaches the highest spiritual path or inspires a person on the highest path. It is called Bhagavatamritam, since it is the highest sweet essence of scriptures meant for devotees. Since it is highest sweet essence of scriptures meant for devotees, it is appropriately named. This will become evident later. The Vaishnavas should hear. This indicates that others are not qualified. Non-devotees with dried up hearts, not having developed faith, will go to hell on hearing this work while lacking taste. Excluding the non-devotees should be understood to be an act of mercy. A person who has taken Vaishnava Diksha is called a Vaishnava. It is said, Sangam Samudram Sanyasam Sa Rishi Chanda Daivatam Sa Diksha Vidhi Sa Dhyanam Sa Yantram Dvadashaksharam Ashtaksharam Adhanyam Vaye Mantram Samupasate Gneyaste Vaishnava Loka Vishnu Archana Radha Sada. Persons who chant the 12th syllable, 8th syllable or other mantra after taking Diksha according to the rules, while performing mudras, nyasas, while reciting the name of sage who revealed the mantra, its meter, the deity of the mantra, along with its meditation and worship of the yantra, are called Vaishnavas. Before reciting a mantra, it is customary to utter the name of the sage who revealed the mantra, Narada in the case of 18-syllable Krishna mantra, the meter Gayatri, the form of the Lord who is the subject of the mantra, Krishna, the bija of the mantra Klim, the Shakti of the mantra Swaha, the Prakriti of the mantra Krishna, the Adishatra Devata Purusha Krishna, and the purpose of uttering the mantra. See Hari Bhakti Vilasa 5.146. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Among the Vaishnavas are those who relish rasa, who have great greed for nectar from the lotus feet of Krishna. Generally, these are the Vaishnavas who will develop great preeti on hearing Bhagavatamrta. Though engaged in constantly serving the Vaishnavas' lotus feet, he addresses them indirectly in the verse out of great respect. May the Vaishnavas hear this work. Or the sentence can mean, "O Vaishnavas, hear this work." This is also formal, respectful address. The meaning of this work is very secret or confidential. To relate the work to history, it is said that Jaimini, a great sage, spoke the story to King Janamejaya with great care. Both were well known as great devotees. Jaimini was a teacher of the Samaveda, the best among the four Vedas, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 10.22, when speaking of the Lord's Vibhutis. He understood its essence, taught the path of bhakti while propounding karma prominently, and thus ultimately indicating Bhagavad Bhakti. He also glorified Jagannatha eloquently. Janamejaya, son of Parikshit, was also a great devotee and had a taste for hearing about Vishnu and Vaishnavas. Thus, it was suitable that Jaimini spoke to him. He spoke with prema for the Lord, or with prema for the great devotee, his disciple Janamejaya, or he spoke with great attraction for the path of bhakti and not for any other reason, since the teaching was very confidential. Text 13. Munindra Jaimini Shudva Bharathakhyanam Adbhutam Parikshin Nandano Prichat Tat Kilam Shravanotsuka. Having heard the wonderful Mahabharata recited by the great sage Jaimini, Janamejaya was still eager to hear more, and so he inquired about the supplement to that epic. When did this take place? Two verses, 13 to 14, explain this. Having heard the story of the kings in the lineage of Bharata, Bharathakyanam, or having heard the story of Mahabharata, which was most astonishing since he had not heard it before, he became eager to hear its concluding part, Khilam. Text 14. Shri Janamejaya Uvacha Na Vaishampayanat Prapto Brahman Yo Bharate Rasa Tvatto Labdhasa Tachesham Madhurena Samapaya. Janamejaya said, "O Brahmana, I never obtained the same relish of Mahabharata from Vaishampayana that I have now obtained by hearing from you. Please complete this recitation with sweet taste. O Brahmana Jaimini, direct form of the Vedas, I have heard Bharata from you. I did not attain such relish in hearing the story of Bharata from Vaishampayana as I have in hearing from you. Since you have narrated the work with sweet bhakti for the Lord, therefore please complete the concluding portion of that Bharata with sweet taste." Therefore, please complete the concluding portion of that Bharata with sweet taste, just as one concludes a meal with something sweet. Text 15 to 17. Shri Jayamanir Uvacha Shuka Devopadeshena Nihata Shesha Sadvasam Samyak Prapta Samastartam Shri Krishna Prema Samplutam Sanni Krishna Nijabhishta Padarohana Kalakam Srimat Parikshitam Matatya Tasyartha Krishna Tatpara Virata Tanayikante Pruchat Etan Rupottamam Prabodhyanandita Tena Putrena Sneha Sampluta. Jaimini said, relieved of all fear by the instructions of Shukadeva, Parikshit, obtaining all his ambitions, was immersed in Krishna Prema. Now, as the time approached for him to ascend to the destination, he desired. His mother, Virata's daughter, a surrendered devotee of Krishna, approached him in great Now, as the time approached for him to ascend to the destination he desired, his mother, Virata's daughter, a surrendered devotee of Krishna, approached him in great distress. A surrendered devotee of Krishna approached him in great distress in a solitary place. After Parikshit had consoled and pleased her by his greetings, immersed in love for her son, she asked of him as follows. The conversation between Uttara and Parikshit, favorable to the topic being discussed, is now described. O best of kings, Janamejaya, Uttara, mother of Parikshit and daughter of King Virata, inquired from Parikshit. And daughter of King Virata inquired from Parikshit. This is described in 3 verses. First, Parikshit is described in half a verse to reveal the speaker's Parikshit's special glory. Shuka, the son of Vyasadeva, was worthy of the highest worship. Thus he is called Deva. By Shukadeva's instructions, in the form of recitation of Bhagavatam, Parikshit completely destroyed unlimited fear, sadvasam of takshaka and samsara, and attained everything, artha, dharma, kama, and moksha very easily, samyak prapta. In other words, he became completely submerged in the waves of sweet prema from Krishna's lotus feet. Shukadeva did not teach him in the city, and Parikshit immediately went to Vaikunta. Where was the opportunity for Uttara to inquire from him? The time for Parikshit to attain his desired destination was approaching. Sanni Krishna. There was a short period of time after Shukadeva departed and before Parikshit attained Vaikunta. During that time, Uttara asked him and he replied. She was pained with lamentation. Artha. She asked because she was most anxious to hear topics about Krishna, Krishna Tatpara, because the topics were most confidential. She approached him in a solitary place. Being overcome with grief for her son, a great devotee, how could she hear and understand his answer? She was made to understand and even realize by her son Parikshit that birth and death are all illusory. That birth and death are all illusory. Thus she became blissful and was completely filled with affection for Krishna or her son, the greatest devotee. Text 18, Shri Uttaro Vacha Yachukeno Padishtam Te Vatsa Nishkrishya Tasya Me Saram Prakashaya Kshipram Kshiram Bodher Ivamritam. Uttara said, my dear son, extracting like the nectar from the milk ocean, the essence of what Shukadeva has taught you, please quickly reveal it to me. My dear son, extracting like the nectar from the milk ocean, the essence of what Shukadeva has taught you, please quickly reveal it to me. Oh son, please reveal to me the essence, the highest teachings of what was taught to you. Reveal the highest secrets. Then hear about the rasa dance in Vrindavana. As one crushes sugar cane with a machine and extracts the essence, sugar, after considering with effort by your intelligence, after considering with effort by your intelligence and realization, the conclusion of all the attractive teachings, speak. A suitable example of extracting nectar from the milk ocean is given. Text 19. Shri Jayaminir Uvacha Sadaram Raja Parikshin Matrivatsala Shutati Adbhuta Govinda Kathakhyana Rasotsuka. Jayamini said, being affectionate to his mother, King Parikshit spoke respectfully, eager to relish recounting the wonderful narrations he had just heard about Lord Govinda. Parikshit was joyful with attraction, Rasotsuka, was inclined to speak about topics of Krishna. He had heard from Shukadeva. Moreover, he had an affection for his mother since she had inquired about this. Thus, he spoke thoroughly the truth about the Lord, though it was confidential. Text 20. Shri Vishnu Rata Uvacha Matar Yadyapikale Smimsh Chikir Shita Muni Vrata Tathapi Aham Tava Prashna Madhuri Mukhari Krita. Parikshit, Vishnu Rata said, "O mother, though at this time one should be silent, nonetheless your delightful question impels me to speak. O mother, though I should be silent at this time, the sweetness of your question has made me desirous of speaking. I will speak Bhagavatamrta. This verse is connected with the following verses. Text 21 to 23. Guru prasadatastasya Srimato Bhadarayane pranamyate saputraya pranadam Prabhum Achyutam Tat Karunya Prabhavena Srimad Bhagavatamrutam Samudrutam Prayatnena Srimad Bhagavato Tamai Munindra Mandali Madhye Nishitam Mahatan Matam Mahaguhyamayam Samyak Katayami Avadharaya. By the mercy of my spiritual master Shukdev Goswami, let me offer respects to Lord Achyuta, who gifted life to both you and your son. By the power of Lord's compassion, I shall recite Srimad Bhagavatamrta, distilled by best of his pure devotees with great expertise and approved by the greatest sages, and which is full of confidential truth. Please listen with attention as I faithfully repeat it to you. Srimad Bhagavatamrta means the sweetest essence, Amrita of the scriptures concerning Bhakti, Bhagavata, endowed with all wealth, Srimad. The work is like the nectar of milk ocean, which is the abode of great jewels and treasures endowed with all good qualities. Though Shukadeva taught Parikshit Bhagavatam and not other Bhakti scriptures, because Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedic scriptures, the answer to the request to reveal the essence includes the content of unlimited Bhakti scriptures. Thus, it includes all wealth. Or Srimat means that this work is most beautiful in the sound of its words and its meaning. Since by reciting this work, the nectar of the Bhagavatam, the supreme Purana, the recitation of all Vedic scriptures is achieved. Since Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of the tree of the Vedas and full of sweetness, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3, and realized by the devotees, it has no inferior position. However, persons who have greed for the sweetness of Krishna's lotus feet take pleasure in topics related to the rasa dance and not other topics in the work, just as those who enter bhakti do not desire to hear about jnana yoga and impersonal Brahman liberation, and persons desiring liberation do not desire to hear about artha and kama. Thus, the present work is the essence of topics concerning such sweet rasa. For such persons, it's not a fault if they consider other works disgusting. Though all scriptural stories are ultimately a glorification of the devotees and Krishna's lotus feet, this glorification is not clear from the direct meaning. Thus, the Rasikas are not satisfied. Thus, the Rasikas are not satisfied with those stories and consider them detestable. This work was completely extracted, Samudrita, by great devotees like Shukadeva and Narada. It was completely extracted, not partly, as is done when explaining. This work was completely extracted, Samudrita, by great devotees like Shukadeva and Narada. It was completely extracted, not partly, as is done when explaining mantras in scriptures, to keep them hidden, or because of agitation with the short period of time remaining. This extraction recalls the example of extracting nectar from the milk ocean. It is approved by great devotees, Mahatam, like Narada, Parashara, and Vyasa. Please hear what I will speak, Avadharaya, or with faith, accept it firmly and keep it in your heart. Hare Krishna, I would like to end here. Thank you so much.